Okay, Tuesday, July 30th, 2024, in the afternoon. I'm a little bit off my schedule. Usually I do these videos in the morning on the way to the gym. So this is what's been happening. We went to Kyiv last week, and on the way back we all picked up COVID, and the baby had it worse than my wife and I. My wife and I are both vaccinated. I have 2 Pfizer, 1 Moderna, and she has 2 Pfizer. So we had symptoms but no fever, but the baby got a fever of 39.3 Celsius or 102 Fahrenheit, so we had to go to the emergency doctor, like a clinic that had emergency services. They gave her some Tylenol equivalent, I think Panadol or paracetamol, something like that they call it in Europe, but it's more or less Tylenol. Everything got back to normal within 24 hours. And then later on I find out that there was an outbreak in Kyiv. But there was no warnings or anything about the trip for us. Otherwise I would have canceled the trip. We went to do her U.S. passport and citizen born abroad record. So that way she's considered a native born American. She can run for president. That's the only difference between a native born American and a naturalized American. That's the only thing that's the only difference is the ability to run for president. Everything else the naturalized citizens can do, just the same as a U.S. citizen. It's a bit darker, I guess, yeah, because I'm in the shade than usual. But yeah, I'm just taking a walk, taking a break from work. So yeah, but I'll tell you, this COVID thing, even without the fever, it feels like getting hit by a truck. I was just like massively tired, nose was stuffed up. What else? Coughing a little bit, not too much. Now I overdosed on some zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D to get my immunity up in a hurry when I started feeling the onset of symptoms. And we didn't suspect COVID. We just thought it was some random flu. And it was until we took the test at the clinic that it was conclusive. But anytime I feel like I'm getting a flu or something like that, I just generally get juiced up on the vitamins real quick, hopefully to help out the immune system a little bit. So yeah, that was last week's trip to Kyiv, and I didn't do any recording there. We were just so busy with everything. I was getting a hotel, getting situated, getting the papers together, double, triple checking the papers, so U.S. Embassy wasn't nearly as busy as it used to be before the war and before COVID. So it's fairly accessible now. Used to be this U.S. Embassy in Kyiv. You could see there was a waiting room had capacity for 100 people. It was huge, and we were only one of 3 families there. There were 2 other families there. It was just really deserted almost. It was interesting experience. Also, I didn't want to film around the embassy. I can just imagine the, some paranoia in Kyiv compared to here in Lviv, that we have. So, yeah, I just want to stay out of trouble a little bit. Just want to show you some more abandoned stuff here. This is a lot of potential here, building potential. Too bad it's right in the sun. The other side is the Viking Plaza, where I often go for coffee breaks. And what else? I managed to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I like this movie. I hope with this new series of movies they're not trying to remake the ones in the 1960s where they show it's like a end of human civilization and the rise of the apes. This movie kind of gives hopes that the humans will make a comeback and retake the planet. That's the kind of movies I want to see. It was like the humans learn from their mistakes and get back on top, not just disappear into nothingness. It's like I want to see humans winning, in the end, learning, maybe they go through some hard time and then they come back stronger. That's the kind of movies I want to see with this Planet of the Apes thing. And then I have this Furiosa on deck, you know, just so I can get all my Mad Max, you know, movies caught up. But that's probably gonna happen next week or so, week or two, whenever I can find the time to watch it. I usually watch the movies now, having a kid and having a job, and then, you know, trying to stay true to my workout schedules, you know, as much as I can. You know, I usually watch them 20-30 minutes at a time, and then I fall asleep, you know. So, you know, it takes me about a week to get through a movie now. Usually about, yeah, movies are around 2.5 hours nowadays. So yeah, it takes me about a week to get through a film. And then sometimes I have to rewatch certain parts because I already forget what happened. And now, yeah, on to what to talk about. So people are asking me about Harris, right? Since the last video, I think Harris formally took over from Biden. It was only being talked about in the last video a few weeks ago. You know, I think she's going to win it. You know, I'm kind of taking a contrarian view. I don't think it's so bad for her, especially if she gets Senator Mark Kelly as her vice president. Now, he's an astronaut, Navy captain, retired Navy captain, Navy pilot, you know, all-American guy, all-American white male, you know, Democrat from Arizona. So it's one of those, you know, Arizona. I mean, now they're saying the swing states are Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Those are probably the three closest states right now. But, you know, if the Democrats can get Arizona and pick off Georgia and stuff, they'll have some buffer. But the calculations I've been seeing, you know, it's like a 268 to 270 electoral vote race right now. So, and you know, I have to say the Democrats are better organized at campaigning, you know, getting people out registered to vote, getting them to show up. They also have, you know, Taylor Swift factor. You know, she just has to do a concert right before the election to motivate the voters. Harris has the women on her side. You know, I think where Trump went wrong with JD Vance is that he just takes everything further right. He doesn't bring any new voters to the Republican side. Trump would have been much better off getting Nikki Haley. You know, then he would have gotten the women on board and some moderate Democrats to his side, and she would have kind of been seen as a counterweight, kind of like Mike Pence, that there's an adult in the room type of thing. You know, I don't know what you know, so it seems like the Trump side is like at a hard 46% nationally, and then they're relying on, you know, no-shows on the Democrat side. To me, it's not a very good strategy. You want to be ahead at least 10%. You know, there's always voting irregularities and cheating and all this stuff is like 5%. So when you're just cutting it by 1% and you lose the election, you can't go and start a civil war or something, or an insurrection, because the polls going in, you know, and show like 1%. Now, sports betting is another story, but I think that's even, that margins are even narrowing as well, you know, on the sports betting odds. But, you know, my feeling is, just, you know, from my experience is that, what is it? I just lost my train of thought. The messages are coming through. I'm kind of walking in the backwoods around my apartment building. So see, here's like a tire repair center in the middle of the woods. You know, they just have a few shacks full of tires, and you come here and get your tires done. You know, and then they have a whole mountain of tires here. It's like West Virginia, you know. This is like being in West Virginia or something, wrong turn kind of shit. But yeah, what was I saying? The Republicans are just at a hard 46%, and then, you know, relying on no-shows. You know, on the Democrat side, lack of Democrat enthusiasm to win. That's not the way to do it. They need to get converts. I haven't seen the Republicans get too many converts to their side. Instead, they're just pushing some very hard right ideas right now, and it's going to cost them, you know, because they don't have the ground game. You know, they're just running on like memes and, name calling, and they haven't really introduced any ideas that would motivate like a middle class person in Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania to switch sides. I mean, I guess, yeah, there's the inflation thing and the housing thing, but in those states, if you're outside of Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, I mean, even Pittsburgh is not that bad. I was just talking to a colleague who lives there. They haven't seen this housing crunch. That's mostly like California and New York and New Jersey, but those places are anyway voting blue. Somehow it's not converting, the housing issues and the inflation issues. It's not getting converts. And the Republicans have to actually come up with some solid platform, and getting rid of income taxes and using tariffs without doing the math, just left them wide open. I mean, Trump wants to be like the Bitcoin president, and Bitcoin completely undermines the dollar. So they're just every chance they get, they're just shooting themselves. And like I said, they have their 46%. But they need to get like 51, solid 51% support to really win this thing. So I don't know. I don't know, just for the sake of a good competition, I hope that Trump switches out Vance for Nikki Haley, and then Kamala Harris picks up this Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona. And then I think it's a pretty good matchup. Then but right now I'm just seeing this right now as Harris is going to steamroll this thing. The ground game, the Democrats have a really good ground game. They have the mail-in ballots. And, granted, I don't agree with mail-in ballots, but it's the reality. They're there, and they will work in favor of the Democrats if they exploit it right, which they know how to do it. They know how to do these things. They did it back in 2020 and unseated a sitting, an incumbent, with a guy who is senile. So, I mean, it's not really about the candidates. It's about the organizational skills and the, knocking on doors and motivating people. They unseated Trump with a very uninspiring candidate, an uninspiring vice president in 2016. So I wouldn't underestimate Kamala Harris. And I mean, everyone has gotten smarter since then, except apparently the Republicans. They just pick right and then far right as their candidate mix. And Harris is looking like she's going to go to the center. She's a bit far left, but this Mark Kelly is probably almost a Republican, I'm sure. He's a moderate Democrat, and he's got, like I said, he's got credibility. He's a veteran. He's an astronaut. He's got a lot going for him. So, yeah, the sun is in the wrong place. It's opposite problem in the mornings. So, yeah. I can see all this scenery here in Ukraine in the background. But, so, I don't know, we have 100 days till the election, so anything can happen, but I'm just marking my bets down. A few weeks ago, I was pretty sure that if Biden stayed in the race, that Trump would just steamroll this thing. But now it's looking good. It's looking like a good race. I have to say, I haven't totally made my mind up. I'm still a bit in the undecided column because, after Trump met with Boris Johnson, they came up with a plan to end the Ukrainian war. I mean, it obviously includes ceding some territory, but and I think there was some security agreement parameters in there as well. I mean, at least there's a plan, because I mean, this is the sentiment I've been seeing here, and this is my own sentiment as well. But a lot of people I know here share it, but not publicly, is that this war will go on another 10 years under the current leadership, and we'll end up getting to the same conclusion anyway. There'll be some loss of territory, and we might end up with a puppet government, and things will be so decimated. Like I said, we'll be lucky to be Georgia. There won't be very motivating for people to invest in here, or we get some deal now, and then rebuild what's left and become like South Korea. You know, what's left of Korea is just awesome. It was like what was left of Germany, you know, West Germany after World War II was an economic powerhouse. And I mean, Germany still is an economic powerhouse, but West Germany during the Cold War, I believe, was the second economy after the U.S. was like U.S., Germany, and Japan. So they came back very quickly, and this is the kind of mindset they have to have in Ukraine, because the Russians are all in for those territories. And, you know, Sun Tzu says you got to give your adversary a golden bridge. Yeah, it's not fair. It's really wrong. It's really unjust. But unless the Allies are willing to go all in, which they're not, we have to look at something like this and then look at a long war, like an asymmetric war, where we, you know, grind down the Russians internally, create internal insurrections, you know, bankrupt their economy, and then, you know, when Putin dies or gets overthrown, then we get something better to deal with. You know, maybe the people who take over will be more motivated to, you know, deal with the West, and, you know, maybe we can split Russia up into some separate countries. And I think that's then they get Ukraine back. Like I say, it's not a direct way to get Ukraine back now. You know, I mean, there's rumors the F-16s are here, and there's a lot of headlines that the U.S. is going to give them all they need, but then the planes don't show up, you know, and suddenly there's restrictions and everything. Like I said, it's just this circle jerk of here you go and then take it back type thing. So until that stops, you know, I think, like I said, I think we can see where things are going. I mean, if the U.S. would go and take Kaliningrad and cut off Transnistria, blockade Transnistria and everything, and use that as a bargaining chip, then I would be a believer in all of Ukraine can be retaken. But until then, we're fighting in this limited war paradigm, you know, this like Truman doctrine. You know, I believe he was the one who came up with this limited war concept, President Harry Truman, you know, with Korea, Vietnam, and everything. It's, like I said, it's there's not very many options, you know, when your hands are being tied behind your back and you're expected to fight like someone like Mike Tyson, you know. Hi, how are you? So I wouldn't say Mike Tyson, but fight somebody. You know, you have to, you know, fight with your hand tied behind your back. It's not a very comfortable situation, you know, and not only that, but you're only getting half the calories you need in the training. And then you have one hand tied behind your back, you know, and then it's just, that's the way it is here. It's just it's a bit of a nut house situation. But yeah, that's, I gotta head back and get back to work and everything. The baby is taking a nap. Wife is watching the baby. So, yeah, baby bounced back quicker than we did. That's for sure. But anyway, yeah, you all take care, and we'll see you. Bye.